All right, so we are moving on to lesson 3 of unit 2. And this is, in my personal opinion, where it starts to get fun. And I know that usually scares my students when I, as the math teacher, say that this is going to be fun. But hopefully, it really will be fun. This part of calculus really um, is a lot like solving puzzles. And I think you'll come to see what I mean as we move forward more and more into the rest of this section. Um, Today, we're going to be learning what we call some of the basic rules for differentiation, meaning the basic rules for taking the derivative. And you may have noticed that in many of our practice problems to this point where we've been using limits to find the derivative, which I know I told you we wouldn't have to do for long, which after today we really don't. We leave it behind in the first two lessons of this unit. And you may have noticed that there's a pattern that similar questions or similar functions end up yielding similar solutions, and that a lot of your cancellation work ends up feeling a little bit repetitive. You seem to be doing the same kind of work over and over again. And when we feel that way in mathematics, it usually means that there is a pattern that can be formulated into basically a formula that we can use over and over again as a shortcut. Not because that foundational work wasn't important. Actually, the foundational work helps us to identify those patterns. And then once we identify the patterns and we can kind of capture them into a little formula that we can repeatedly use over and over again, our work, we just work more efficiently because we're cutting out the part that's redundant and we're just doing the part that requires us to use our brain without being redundant. So that's what we have in this section. I'm breaking it into two topics. In the first one, all the rules that we learn in this lesson would qualify as basic rules for differentiation. But I'm going to break them into what I call the basic rules and the advanced rules. The basic ones are ones that are kind of like one-step processes, and the advanced rules take a few more steps in order to follow them all the way through. So that is your outline, and make sure you write all of this information down because you're definitely going to want to use these formulas or these patterns in solving the problems that we work on in class. All right, enjoy lesson 3.